So I ran into a little problem with archive logs destination filling up this morning with my provider, and realized I really didn't have a handle on those kinds of things because I'm not managing the database. So decided I needed to dig out some scripts and thought, I need to clean these up a little, and I'm going to incorporate them into ArcSQL in this SQL directory. So none of these are going to be installed by default when you go through the K2 installation. But if you want to install these, you'll need to run the ArcSQL scripts user grants. It's exactly the same as ArcSQL user. And so just follow those instructions. Just run it as admin and edit the top of the script to put define the username. But I'm going to be adding grants to that. So some of these grants here will be coming back in, but I'm going to be putting them down at the bottom. So to support the archive log distribution script, we needed to have select on this archive log view. And I'm also going to get rid of all the SQL formatting, the SQL plus formatting. We're just going to go with, assume that you've got something to run in that does the formatting, just because I don't want to maintain that. But this is a view, and I'm going to run it here for a second. But as I drop scripts in here, they'll probably get added most likely as views to the install script, and you just need to run that as the user that you give these grants to. It'll install these views. And then some of these, if you go down to the scripts for the default template, we have a miscellaneous reports.sql right now. This is where I'm just putting a bunch of SQL that gives me some insight into what's going on. Without having to go into the interface or anything like that. And then this can be automated pretty easily in the future to maybe send me a report in an email or things like that, or turned into actual alerts or monitors. Not going to worry about that now. This is just kind of the first cut. First cut is like, how can I check this quickly? So what I would do is I would have my miscellaneous reports probably open from the previous day, and I'm wondering what's going on, and I'm like, oh, you haven't looked at archive log distribution in a while. Let's go ahead and run that. And so go ahead and run that. And what this does is it shows me the number of archive logs, and I think my archive logs are like 200 meg each, by hour of day and by date. And so it gives you a really good idea of what's normal. So when I had my issue, it wasn't anything too abnormal, but we did run 10 archive logs out towards when the issue occurred. But this gives you some idea of what's normal. These numbers here would be highly abnormal. Who knows what was going on at that time? That's the kind of thing you could drive alerting off of. You could say, I know just by looking at this grid, I know that normal is like 3. 6 is not abnormal. Let's say in a 2-hour window, 20 would be a little abnormal, and maybe in a you could take a 6-hour window or something like that and say, 100 would be very abnormal, and you could just start to drive some alerting off of that. If you're using Statzilla, ultimately you can write, that's going to have scoring in it. So like this would probably generate an alert just based on its score, and so would, maybe any time 6-3, 6-3, 6-3. That pattern wouldn't probably do it, but you get the idea. You can get a kind of good overview of everything. You don't need charts and graphs for all this stuff. Tells you a lot about your database. And so miscellaneous reports file, I've got select from counters. So if you're using any counters, so for example, I've got a counter using that it's set up to count when emails are sent. I do know that's available in Apex tables. I'll probably add that too. I've got an event table which tracks events, gives the event count in total seconds. Again, this could be turned into something that's tracked in Statzilla, which is built into K2. And we've got some other stuff in there, and I'll be adding a lot as I need it. So this is my, like I said, first cut before I actually have any kind of automated reporting or alerting. If I can just come in here and quickly, run some things and look at things, and I know how well my instance or database instance and how well the app is performing and things like that. Okay, thanks for watching.